Hi and welcome back to the next video. This is video number 7. So this time we are starting to implement our drag and drop to-do list in Angular. In the next videos we are also going to connect our front end from Angular to our nest.js backend. So our structure here is, as always, we look at the outcome, then we are reading the user story, then we implement the story. In the description you can find the timestamps, so you can skip to all the parts that you're interested in. So let's very fast have a look at our outcome of this video. So here you see we have like 3 columns like backlog, to do, and done, and we can drag and drop or move the items between each column. And you see also they have a complexity like type. So hard items are red, if they are medium they are blue, easy are green. This here is also like a medium one. You can drag and drop them between all. So here we have like a little bug at the moment that will be fixed in the next video. So it should be, if it's done, it should be crossed out. But this will be fixed in one of the next videos. So let's have a look at the story for video number 7. So here we want to init our to-do list with drag and drop. And the story is very easy. So we want to init our to-do list in our Angular front end so that we can already move an item with our mouse from one status to another status. And the API connection will be done in one of the next videos. So here we will focus just on the UI, on the UX a bit, so just the Angular front end. And our acceptance criteria are, we want to be able to drag and drop items with our mouse, and they should have a color per complexity. So usually if they are hard, then they should be red. If they are medium, then blue, and when they are easy, maybe green or something like this. So for this we can start. I already run here docker compose up. And now here I cd'd into my folder, and I already created this because I made a mistake in the last step. I deleted it. So we can just say ng generate component, and we can generate a card component here in our components folder in our private module. Let's give it a second. Will it appear or not? Let's still make it. So, but now here they are. So here is our card component, and this we can then use to display like a card. So just for you to see, what we want to do is Angular drag and drop. We want to use the Angular material, and here we have like a drag and drop item that we can use, or drag and drop API. And for example, what we want to achieve is here like a to-do list, where we can move items. You want to enhance it a bit with UI, and then in one of the next videos you want to save all this to our server with our nestjs API and emit like messages in real time to other clients, so that they all see when I move like an item from to do to done, so that you can work together on something. So next we can do also some preparation. So in our private module we can create like a new file for our interfaces. So we can name it interfaces.ts. And here we can explain how our to-do item should look. So we can say export interface to-do item, and then this should have an ID. It should have a created by, which should be a user, so a person. We have a updated by. We have the time, so when the last time, or the user that updated it the last time will be here. We have a created at, which will be a date, and we have an updated at, so when was it last updated, is also a date. Then we have our type, I would say. and this should be, for example, is it a backlog item, a to-do item, or is it done? So we can say here export type, and we just say, for example, list type, and then this is either a backlog item or to do or done. Maybe a better naming here is status or state, and then we name it here status, and we refer to our status type that we just created. Then it should have a title, it should have a subtitle and text, and it should all be like strings. And then we can say it's like a complexity, and here we can also export a type. So we can say, for example, a task can be very hard to accomplish and it would be like a hard type, or if it's easy, then it would be like an easy type. So we can say we have like easy, we have medium, and we have a hard complexity. So we say our complexity is referring to our complexity type. So now we have like so how it should look, and maybe we have to refactor this later when we connect it to our backend. But the first thing here will do. So now to use our drag and drop module here, we have to import, or we have to add it to our import. So we use here our drag and drop module in Angular. And import it here, or add it to our imports, so that we can use like all the stuff that we want. So then, for example, what we can easily do is we have here like an example, and we can just open this, and to make it a bit easier, we can use a little bit copy and paste, so that you can always find like the whole API of the Angular CDK. Drag and drop here, so you have all the methods, all the directives, classes, interfaces, and so on that can be used. And to make it maybe a bit easier for us, we will copy like the CSS and add it to our dashboard component. We can copy also our HTML. And we can copy our TypeScript stuff, and then from here on we are able to refactor everything so that it fits definitely our needs. And then we see if this works, and then we go through everything and explain it. And now we can see if everything compiles here, but this looks good. Now let's go into our browser, and if this is working, and it's like a good or head up start where we can continue. So let's give it a bit. So here's our login. I can use my user from the last time and log in. And now you see we have here our two lists, and I can easily drag and drop all the time, all the stuff. So now we have to modify it. So one of the first things, or the most easiest things that we can do, is to rename a bit our CSS classes. So we are not having here like an example container, but maybe, so let's say refactor, vector and rename, and we rename this, for example, to list container. And you see the changes here all everywhere where it's been used. And we can also reflect this to maybe our list, and our example box should of course be our to-do item. So this is now our to-do item, and everything should work like before. And as you remember, we want to have like 3 lists. So we have to add here like another one, like our backlog, for example. And now we can go on from here. And we can, for example, wrap this whole stuff here up in another div. And this div could, for example, be like a CDK drop list group. And we can give this style like a margin of 50 pixels in each direction. So now you see this should work. So we have now here the items multiple times because the first 2 are both referring to our to-do or list. So we have to update our code here a bit. So this we are not needing, so we can easily remove this. And here now we can go through the code a little bit more. So we have here our item at the moment, and that's connected. Our list is connected to our here, so it's referring to our to-do and the done list. So at the moment these are just plain strings that are being displayed here. And if there's like a drop event, then we are executing here our drop function, and then we are moving the item to the correct place in our array. If it's like the same container, or if the previous container is like the new container, and otherwise we're just referring we transfer the item to the next container. So what we want to have here instead is we want to use our card item. So we can say here we want to have our app minus card, and for our app card we can now create a class to-do item, or we can use our class to-do item here. We can use an ng-for loop on it so that we can use all our items. We apply the CDK track directive, and now we need like an input in our card for the to-do item. So we can just add it here in input. our to-do item, and we either have a to-do item or undefined, and now we can add here like a to-do item. So we can pass in here a to-do or an item, I think. Yes, no, my mistake. An item, and here we simply use our item that we are referring here. So at the moment this goes wrong because here we have like a string, and here we want to have a to-do item. So the next thing that we want to do is we want to create some to-do items here and not just strings. So here we say we have items that are to-do items, and we have like a few of them. And now we just give them the stuff that is not optional. So we have like hard item. So we have like a hard item, for example, that has a complexity of hard, a subtitle of hard, subtitle, and text of hard text. And what else do we want? We want to have like a status, and this could be backlog. And now, so these are all the properties that we need to set. Now we can create some items and we will train it up a bit. So we have now here, for example, a medium item. That is of course medium. We can set this to to-do. We can also have like an easy item. We can set this to done. And then we have maybe an example item that also is like medium. We have an example subtitle, an example text, and the status state is, for example, done. And now we can delete these here. And then we just say we have backlog items that are our to-do items. And we can initialize them with an empty array. And the same goes for our to-do items. So we just use here the status. So we are going to refactor this later when we have our API connection a bit. But for now, this is totally fine. So we have now all our items here. So we just blend it out so that we can read it easier. And now in our ng.init, so as soon as it loads, we can set everything. So we can now, let's say that we want to refactor this and the next stories, for example. But now we can say, for example, this.backlog items are all items filter that having our status backlog. Then we can do the same with our to-do items. And we can filter here also for our status. And then we just filter for to-do. And the last thing is our done items are our list.items.filter item status done. So now we can use our free lists here for our stuff. So here we connect our backlog list to our backlog items, and then we can remove our div here. and our event here for the drop event. We now want to have like a simple to-do item, and then this should work again. So the error should go away, and now we can use the app card here and here. And here we connect to our to-do items and iterate over them, and here to our done items and iterate over them. So let's have a quick look here to our code. So if we want, we can move our list and to-do item into our container, so that we make the CSS a bit more readable. We can remove the padding from here and add it later to our in our card component directly, so that we can add like a border on the left with the color, for example. This will be a little bit easier than doing it here. Now we can first maybe have a look in our browser, or is it compiling? Yes, this seems good. So you see here, this still works. But at the moment we're just having here card works. What we definitely need to fix, so we want to display like the titles, for example. So in our card component, we can now add like the real content. So we have a div. We can use here like a class item, and our item could have like the padding, so we can say our item class. We apply our padding of 20 pixels, 10 pixels, and our left border should be solid and should be like 3 pixels thick. And now we can just use here, for example, in our div, we can make an h3, and we can say here we want to display, to interpolate the data, we want to use the title, and then we also want to use our subtitle or display it. So let's see if this is already working. So you see now we have here our hard item, our medium item, our easy item, and we can drag and drop them between our lists very easily, very nice. And now we want to add like some color or yeah, let's just add some color. So what we can do is we can create like a new CSS class where we say we want to have one if our complexity is easy, then our border left color should be green, and then we can say another here our medium stuff should be blue, and the really hard should be red, and then we name it medium and hard. And then in our class here we can apply conditionally CSS classes with ng class, and here we can now say that we want, for example, to add the complexity easy class if our item.complexity is easy. Then we have our complexity medium class that we want to add if our item complexity is medium. and we have our complexity hard class that we want to apply if our item dot complexity is hard. So now we can look and see in our browser. So we have like an error. I didn't finish this. So now you see we have like a hard item that is red. Our blue items are blue. Our medium items are blue, and the easy item is green, and we can still drag and drop everything. So maybe it's also nice to have like the text crossed out if an item is done. So we can, for example, say here we have a done CSS class where we can say text decoration, and here we just go line through, and this will just like line through the text if it's done. So we can now apply this class as before. So we can use ng class, and we can apply the class done if our item dot status is like done. And we can do this for both here. So now you see if they are done, then it's crossed, but at the moment I don't know why it's not updating here. Let's see if we have like an error in our console. No. Let's see if this will help. No. Yeah, but I think this is like a bug that we can fix like in one of the next videos, so that this is not getting too long. So that now at the end, let's go through our story. So at the moment, I think we have like a good drag and drop stuff, even with our crossed out here. So I will address this in one of the next videos, definitely. And also in the next videos, we will then connect everything here to our backend. So this is just that we have like some working stuff. And change this here also up a bit so that we always get like updates from our backend. So now let's go through our story. And we now have, or now we are now able to drag and drop items. So this is finished. And the items are also having like a color if they are complex or by their complexity. So example, red if they are hard. So let's commit this, and now it's video 7, and init ToDo list and display color per complexity for each item, and we can push this. We can push